We all know that the one who wrote this gospel is John the Beloved. And this gospel is different to the other gospel because it has only 7 selected miracles or signs. We can explicitly see here about the strong claims of Jesus Christ that he is the Son of God. And we can say in his miracles, and it reveals that God the Father is. Here in John chapter 5, verse 1 to 18, is the third miracle of Jesus Christ in this gospel. The previous chapter, after Jesus was talking to the Samaritan woman and stayed there for 2 days, Jesus went to Galilee, the place where he did his first miracle, which is he turned the water into wine. During this time, an official came to Jesus and asked him to heal his son who had severe fever. So he asked Jesus to go with him in John chapter 4, verse 50, before his son died. But Jesus said, "Go your way, your son live." And it was so. And here in the third miracle of Jesus, we can see that Christ healed this man who had infirmity for 38 years. We can see the reason why Jesus healed this man, and it is because he saw his condition. And the reason why he is able to heal this man, it is because he is the Son of God. And he wants us to rest in him. So my theme, by the way, my theme is Christ healed us. The first point is the 2 reasons why Christ healed us is because he saw our condition, and he is the Son of God. This text that we'll be looking at today is not only pointing for the physical healing, but it also points to the spiritual healing. That's why the whole message is Christ healed us, because he sees us, he is the Son of God, and he wants us to rest in him. So, first point, let's look at verse 1. Verse 1 to 9, C. It says here, "After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem." Here at this point, as I mentioned earlier, after Jesus healed the son of the nobleman or the higher ranking official, it says that there was a feast of the Jews. And the Bible didn't mention of what kind of the feast is, but it's the only thing that is mentioned here is it is during the Sabbath. So Jesus went there during that time. And it says, "Now there is in Jerusalem by the sheep gate a pool, which is called in Hebrew Bethesda." Now the sheep gate is near to where the temple was located. According to NIBD, the meaning of the Bethesda is house of grace. And it says here that it has 5 porches or a covered shelter. And we can see that it is a huge place, as we can see in the next verse, that there are multitudes of people who are in there. And in verse 3 it says, "In this lay a great multitude of sick people, blind, lame, paralyzed, waiting for the water to move," and the moving of the water. So, as we see here, it is a huge place because there is a multitude of people. But look, the people who are there are sick people, blind, paralyzed, who are waiting for the moving of the water. Now, what is the reason why they are waiting for the water to move? Or why only the sick people who are waiting in there? Now, if you are looking at ESV or NIV, or the other translation, it has verse 4 in there, but it doesn't have words. But in King James Version and New King James Version, it has verse 4 and it has written in there. And it says, "For an angel went down at a certain time into the pool and stirred up the water. Then whoever stepped in first, after the stirring of the water, was made well of whatever disease he had." So now, this is the reason why there are multitudes of people who are waiting for the moving of the water. And it is because of their superstitious belief, instead of trusting the Lord to heal them. They think that healing from their diseases is like a competition. But it says in verse 5, "Now a certain man was there who had infirmity 38 years." Now, as we look in this verse, and as we look into the situation of this man, we might say that he is hopeless. Imagine, he had suffered, he had this infirmity for 38 years. It doesn't say that this man has had this condition since birth. The only thing is that says here is he has an infirmity for 38 years. And in verse 6 it says, "When Jesus saw him laying there and knew that he already had been in that condition a long time, he said to him, 'Do you want to be made well?'" Now, this is the interesting part for me, because in a multitude of people who are there, Jesus came into this man only. Jesus saw his condition and knew how long he was laying in there and how long he was suffering from his disease. And Jesus asked him, saying, "Do you want to be made well?" Now, the reason why Jesus asked him in this question is not because Jesus didn't know his heart. He knows this man because he is the Son of God. In fact, when we will go back to the time that the Lord called Nathanael in chapter 1, verse 48, Nathanael was amazed because Jesus knows him. And when Jesus talking to the Samaritan woman, she was shocked because Jesus know about her. God knows this man well. Jesus knows his heart. Now, the possible reason why Jesus asked him this question is to make him realize his deeper need. But when Jesus asked this question, the man did not say yes, but he says, in verse 7 it says, "The sick man answered him, 'Sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water stirred up. But while I'm coming, another steps down before me.'" Now, the man did not say yes when Jesus asked him if he wanted to be healed, because he's thinking that the miracle healing came from the pool or from their superstitious belief. Now, can you imagine that the concept of healing of this man is like a competition. Now, but our Lord is not like that. When we come to the Lord and say, Lord, heals us, when we come to Him, He will not say, oops, sorry, someone is got ahead, so just go back next day, bye-bye. He will not do that. The way that the Lord heals is different. That's why the next verse it says, Jesus said to him, rise, take up your bed, and walk. Basically, Christ is telling this man that the way he healed is different. It's not like what this man think. And we say that by his word, this man was healed. And by his power, this man was healed. Now when Jesus commanded him to take up his bed and walk, it is interesting that this man did not say something. He did not say that, wait, seriously? Do you want me to walk? Have you not seen my situation? No, he didn't say that, as we can see in this verse. But in the following verses, this man, they just keep quiet. And when Jesus commanded him to take up his bed and walk, he do of what Jesus commanded him to do. And it says, immediately the man was made well, took up his bed and walked. Now, it is amazing that by the word of Jesus Christ, this man was healed. And this man did not say anything, but he believed in Jesus Christ and took an action. He did as what Jesus had commanded to him. Now, a multitude of people were seeking to be made well by their own works, trying to find a way to heal themselves. But Christ healed this man who had been suffering from his sickness for a long time. And Jesus saw his condition. Brethren, Jesus is able to heal us physically, but it is not our main problem. One pastor says that the deeper need of the people in this world is the gospel. Through Jesus Christ, we are healed from our spiritual illness. We are once blind, but Christ opened our eyes and showed his light. We are once like the man who had infirmity for 38 years, but when we are hopeless and helpless, but he gives us hope. And that is Jesus Christ, and he is our deeper need. And that is the reason why he healed us, because he sees us. Now, in the second point, the reason why he heals us, because he is the Son of God. He is powerful. In the last part of verse 9, it says, and that day was Sabbath. Now, this point is kind of a bit different. For because Jesus healed the man, it became an issue for the Jews. The reason why it became an issue for them, it is because in Exodus 20, 10 to 11, after the Israelites fled from the Egyptians, the Lord said to them that they must remember the Sabbath, they must rest from their works as the Lord resting on the seventh day. Now, and that is a big deal for them. Now, for us, literally, we need rest because we get tired, especially for the students. But it's not good if you're just always resting and not working your assignment. But here we can see that the Jews, it is big deal for the Jews that this man carrying his bed and walk. In verse 10 it says, the Jews therefore said to him who was cured, it is Sabbath, it is not lawful for you to carry your bed. The Jews mentioned here in this passage, the Jews that are mentioned here in this passage is pointing to the religious leader, which is the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Now, because of their legalism, instead of resting and worshiping the Lord, they have nothing to do except watching the people's mistake. They were like a CCTV during this time. Now, as we see the text, the Jews are saying that he must not carry his bed because this is the time of Sabbath. And for them, this man is working. But this man answered. He answered them, he who made me well said to me, take up your bed and walk. Now, as we see here, this man is telling this religious leader that the one who healed him is the one who told him to carry his bed. But the religious leader are so legalistic. And because of that, it says in verse 12 that then they ask him, who is this man who said to you, take up your bed and walk? Now, if we notice something that we can notice something that when this man mentioned